Hey everyone, welcome back to Simple App Tech. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your Active Directory in your own Homelab using Proxmox and Windows Server step by step. However, before we dive into the setup, let's first understand what is Active Directory, why do IT departments use it, and what you will need for you to set this up on your own server. I'm going to try to make this as beginner friendly as possible. We're going to be learning Active Directory from scratch, and we are going to use the Proxmox virtualization software to actually set this up. So let's jump right in, guys. Active Directory is also called AD, and this is a service created by Microsoft that helps companies manage their computers, users, and resources all in one place. Think of it like the control center of a company's IT network. With AD, you can create, manage user accounts, passwords, whatever. You can also join computers to a central domain using AD. You can apply security rules to all machines at once using AD. And also, you can control who has access to what via AD. Now, let's give a real life example here. Let's assume that you work in a company called TechZone BV. Instead of everyone having their own separate login, the company uses Active Directory to create one central login. So when you sign into your computer, email, or your shared drives, it's all controlled by Active Directory. That is what we are going to build today, but on a small scale inside a home lab. However, what you're building in your home lab is also what can be replicated in a corporate environment. You can also replicate this in your organization and make sure everyone has their own has a central login that you can use to organize all the permissions and stuff like that. So let us see how we can do this using Active Directory. I'm excited. Let's jump in. So first things first, we are going to prepare the virtual machine on Proxmox, and we're going to install Windows Server on the virtual machine. For this first step, the goal is to clean the Windows Server base. We are not installing Active Directory yet on our network. So for my Proxmox network, I've created a 172.16.50.0 subnet, and we are going to be following these instructions to install our own virtual machine. So let's jump in. I've opened my Proxmox environment here, and I have two nodes, PVE and PV2. So the first thing, let's go on and follow this. The first thing is to prepare the VM on Proxmox and install Windows Server. So I'm going to click create VM here and call it DC01. That's domain controller 01. And I'm going to choose my ISO image. Sorry, I should have said this. You can also you need to also download your ISO image, Windows ISO image first from this website, from Microsoft website. Once you come to this website, you click on this link. When you click on it, it's going to give you a box to save the file. I've downloaded the file and I've uploaded it to my Proxmox, so I don't need to do that. So you're also going to download what they call VET.io drivers, and these are the drivers for your network, for your storage, whatever you need. You need this one to install all your drivers. So you can come to this URL here and click on the download latest stable version. Once you click on this, it's also going to bring a dialog box for you to save. So save it and also upload it to your Proxmox. For you to upload it to Proxmox, you can come to local, then ISO images, then upload, and you can select the file that you downloaded and upload it there. Also, instead of you downloading it first, you can right click on it and click on copy link address, and go back to your Proxmox environment and click on download from URL and paste the link. Then when you paste the link, click on query URL. Doing that will show you the file name and the file size, so you can just download it directly to your Proxmox environment. So as I've said, I've downloaded it already, and now I can just go ahead to create the VM. So this CO1, next, I'll now choose the ISO image I've uploaded, which is this. Make sure the type you select is as Windows, and the version is the latest one, that's 2022 2025. You select that. Yes, I want to add additional drivers for VAT.io. Then I select the ISO image as well that I downloaded, this. Then I click on next. I don't need EFI disk. I want the KMO agent. This will give me the IP address of the virtual machine and the summary page in my Proxmox environment. TPM storage, I can use my local and use the latest version and just click on next. Disk size, use 80 gigs of space, and we can also I like to do write back the cache. It's also in the documentation, I guess. If you go to write through, cache is write through is the safest for domain controllers, so write through, and you can click on next. You can give this 2 cores, and the type, I usually use the host CPU to make sure it's getting the full, not an virtualized CPU. I do that. Then memory, you can leave it at 4 gigs of memory. Network, as I said, I've created a network of 172.16.50.0 subnets. So with that network, I'm using it to isolate my virtual environment for Windows, so it doesn't affect other environments. So I click on next and finish. And now you can see this 102, this CO1, you can see that the virtual machine has been created. We just now need to start it up. So go to the console and click on start now. And you can see it's booting up already. And I press any key to boot from CD. And I'm now going to go ahead with the installation of Microsoft Windows Server on this virtual machine. So you select all these for next, install now. Depending on your processor speed and everything, it may take a while. So I'm going to choose the server standard evaluation desktop experience and click on next. I accept the terms and click on next. I click on custom install server, I do that. Then I click load driver. You can see at this moment you can see the storage, and that's because the VAT.io has not installed yet. So but for me to manually do it, I can do load driver, click on browse, then go to the VAT.io CD, AMD 2K22, and just click on OK. Now this gives the driver, and you can click on next. It's going to install the storage driver to this virtual machine, and once it's done installing, you will be able to see the disk space that we configured earlier. You can see it now that it shows us 80 gig. You click on next, and now all we have to do is wait for this installation to be done. And once it's done, we can now start configuring our IP address and stuff like that. Basically the same thing we have said in this documentation. So let's wait for this to be done, and I'll come back to you. Now it is done with the installation. You can click on restart now. And now it's going to boot up to the Windows environment, where we can continue our setup. Now I have to put a secure password for the administrator account. This password, you need to also remember it so you can log into your Windows environment. So I'm going to type in a password now and click on the finish button. Now I'm done. Yeah, that's it. It's quite easy to install Microsoft Server, and for me to do some basic configurations, I can sign into the virtual machine using the password I just created, and it's going to sign me into the environment where I can configure a lot of things. And according to our document here, the first thing I'm going to do is install the drivers fully. So I'm going to, don't show this again, close, let's close this for now. For me to install all the drivers to make sure everything works, you can see as at now, the network doesn't work, it's not connected. I can't do anything. If I open network, it's not working yet because I don't have a network card in it, and that's because the driver is not installed. And for me to install the drivers, I just need to go here, go to the File Explorer and click on the VET.io CD drive, and scroll down and click on down and install this, the x64 version. Double click on it and just next, agree to the terms, next, or then next, and install. So it's going to install all the necessary drivers you need. Finish. I also like installing the guest tools so I can get the summary of the IP address on the page. I'll show you where it's going to come up. So done. So I can close this. So once I have an IP address for this virtual machine, if I go to summary, you'll see it. You can see at the moment it's a random IP address that appears, and this is because we've not configured any for now. So if I go back to the console, the next thing in the document is to run all updates. But for me to run updates, I need to configure the IP address, and here's how to do that. I right click on this network and click on Open Network and Internet Settings. I go to change adapter options. You can see now I have a network card. I double click on this, I click on properties, then Internet Protocol version 4, and use the following IP address. Then I can do 172.16.50.10. That's the IP address of the domain controller. 255.255.255.0. 172.16.50.1, sorry, 16.50.1. This is the gateway that's been configured on my router. This is the gateway to the internet and whatever services you need to communicate with. This is the gateway, the domain controller we use. And for the DNS server, I'm going to use the same domain controller. So 172.16.50.10, and I click on OK. And now you can see this pop-up appears, and I say yes. So I give it a bit of time. Close this. Give it a bit of time. You will see the network appearing here. You see that it's connected to the internet. Once you give it a bit of time. So I remembered something. The internet might not work yet because we have not installed the DNS server on Server Manager for this one. So right now we go back here, come back here and click on Properties and change this to maybe Cloudflare or Google's DNS for now. That's 8.8.8 or 1.1.1. Okay, and okay this. Now it should be connected to the internet. Now you can see it's connected to the internet. You can see that I can see network internet access. So that's good. The first thing I like to do, let me exit from this first. The first thing I like to do is to update the server. So I go to my start button, I search for update, and I click on check for update, and I click on this. So we have to make sure all the system is updated first, and everything works well first. And once this is updated, I will show you how to move away from the Proxmox environment and remote connect to this Windows VM using a third-party tool like Microsoft Remote Connection, or whatever. If you're using Mac, it's most likely going to be called the Microsoft Remote Desktop. If you are using a Windows system, it's most likely going to be called the Remote Desktop Connection. So you can search for that, and I will show you how to connect to the VM from those tools. So now this is downloaded, and you can see it's installing the tools. Now this usually takes a while depending on your internet speed and the specs of your virtual machine, but it's always advisable to do this as best practice, so you're secured from hacks, vulnerabilities and stuff like that. So this might take a while, and I will come back after this is done. Also, while this is happening, I can also use the opportunity to change the name of the VM. So if I go here, if I go to Server Manager, I go to local server, you can see this is currently the name of this server. And this is not what I want. I want the name to be called DC01. So I can change that by clicking on this. I click on change, and the computer name, I just rename it to DC01. I click OK. So yeah, you must restart your computer to apply these changes. Before restarting, I say OK, and I close this. So I don't want to restart now, so I do restart later. I want to make sure the updates are done before restarting. This can take a while, as I said, so let's still wait and we'll come back to this when the installation of the updates is done. So now the update is done and the system restarted. I restarted the system actually, and now I can sign in to the VM, to the Windows Server, using the same password. And now it's going to boot up, and we'll continue our configuration from there. So cancel. Let's see if there are still any updates. Sometimes there will still be more updates. So I do check for updates again. And let's wait and see if there are more updates. Let's give it some time. I guess this is my internet or something. Still checking for updates. Yeah, so it says some updates that it needs to install again, so we need to download and install these updates. So let's wait for all this to be done. As I said, this is best practice. It's not entirely compulsory, but I usually like doing all this like I'm in production environment. In a production environment, you would want your system to have the latest versions of everything, or maybe not later, but the most stable versions to ensure you are secured entirely. So I'm trying to follow that rule of thumb, and yeah, that's it. So let's just wait for this to be done, and we'll continue with our setup. Now you can see that my updates are done, and if I click on check for updates, I shouldn't get any update again. Yep, so you can see I'm up to date, and that is fine. And remember that we changed the IP address earlier on, and if I go back to summary, I see the IP address I changed to, which is great. So now I can go back to the console and close this. And one more thing I like doing as well is to make sure I update the time zone to my current location. So I click on this, I go to my server manager. If this has been closed, you can just go to the start button and click on server manager. It's going to open up this page. Then once this is opened up, you click on local server. From local server, under time zone, you click on the time zone and do change time zone. So you select the time zone of your location. I'm in the Netherlands, so my time zone is going to be +1. That's Amsterdam, yeah, this one. And I click on OK. And once that is done, you can also sync your time. It's gonna sync. It should sync when you apply it. So okay,
and that will be done. Now the time is 3:28 p.m. so which is fine. For now, I would want to go away from the Proxmox environment and instead use my Microsoft remote desktop to connect, so I can have a better screen resolution of this Windows server. So now I'm going to connect to the Windows VM I created in Proxmox using Microsoft Remote Desktop tool. This tool allows me to get a better screen resolution of my Windows environment. So for me to do that, I click on Add PC. Then I'm going to type the IP address of the Windows environment, which is this, and I'm going to just give it a friendly name called DC01 and click on Add. So I remember that I have not enabled remote desktop or remote connection on the server, so I don't expect this to work right now, but let's try. You can see it's stuck on initializing remote connection. After a while, it's going to give an error that it cannot connect, but we don't need to wait for that. So I can cancel this. I will go back to the Proxmox environment, and here it is. And from there, you can see remote desktop is disabled. So I would need to enable that and click on here and do allow, click OK, and apply. So now that that is allowed, if I go back to my remote desktop, I should be able to connect. Yeah, you can see now it brings out the credential for me to use the credentials. So I'm going to use the same credentials and the password, and I click continue. And now you can see that I'm signed into the Windows Server environment using the Microsoft Remote Desktop, and the resolution is much better. So once that is done, I don't need this for now. I can close this. Yeah, and this is the base for our upcoming videos, and we are going to use this to continue to do our environment, our corporate environment, and show you how Active Directory is being used in corporations. We are going to stop here today and continue from next week, because I know this video is already kind of long. So we'll continue from where we stop next week. Please comment, like, subscribe to my channel. I want to help as many beginners that are trying to get into Microsoft administration, system administration. I want to help as many as I can for free. I don't intend making this paid or whatever. I just want to contribute to the community. So please subscribe, share the videos, comment if you have any questions. I try as much as possible to respond to your questions. See you on the other side, guys. Take care, safe.